What's up, NIO family? This is Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the broader markets. I want to talk about what's happening with the economic calendar heading into next week and why NIO is trying to bounce at least just temporarily. Just know that I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I'm saying as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link that's down below or use my QR code right here to sign up. If you sign up for Moon with the link down below and deposit $100, you're going to get $20 of free Nvidia stock. If you deposit $2,000, you're going to get $50 worth of Nvidia. Deposits $10,000 to get $300 worth of the stock, or deposits $50,000 to get $1,000 of free Nvidia. You're also going to qualify for a 3.6% APY base rate plus a 4.5% APY extra for 3 months, making it a total of an 8.1% APY. The offer ends very soon, so please check out my link down below to sign up. Anyways, looking at NIO in the markets, we are trying to temporarily bounce. However, there's no guarantee the market is done with downside yet, looking at the current trends. For NIO, there's not really much coming out yet. We're seeing some more talk about their latest auto show where they're making a very, very good debut and they're continuing to show their new technologies and innovations. However, next week will be big because just keep in mind that for Monday, we start off with minor earnings to start things off, but then on Tuesday, it's going to be very big for the Chinese stocks as we have Alibaba and NIO announcing their earnings. And then for Thursday, the stock market's going to be closed for Thanksgiving. So keep that in mind. There's going to be NIO's earnings next week in just a couple of days from now. This is going to be very, very impactful for the share price, and we could be looking for a big move. For next week, we also basically don't really have as much stuff coming out due to it being Thanksgiving week. Monday has very, very quiet bill auctions. Tuesday just has some employment data alongside PPI. I believe PPI will be coming out, but this is the late data for the month of September, so it's delayed data. And then we basically have more durable goods data on Wednesday. It's going to be very quiet as well due to it being the last day before Thanksgiving. And then for Friday, it's going to be very quiet. So we have a short week next week. Thanksgiving is going to be for the American markets, so there will not be trading on Thursday. And then right now, the market's at extreme fear, which could signify some upside to come. I think NIO is going to bounce a bit for 5.8. If we hold above this, we're looking for an attempt for $6. Then we'll see if we reject or not. But overall, there is some upside potential, so keep that in mind. For SPY, I do think we try to go a bit higher. We could try to retest 662 to 665, but the problem is that we're in this range, meaning that every time SPY is touching this upper trend line, now we just reject and we keep on making lower highs and lower lows. So even if SPY does try to bounce a little bit, there is a risk of us potentially rejecting and continuing to make new lows in this trend as we still look a bit more bearish. We could pump and then dump again, or we could just reject near this area, push a couple of points, then turn back down for the low 650s. Same thing with the triple Q, right? The triple Q has been on this downtrend for quite some time, and there's no true sign of a major bounce. We could try to go for this 595 area, but so far we're struggling to hold above it. And even if we do go a little higher, if we go for 595 to 600, we're going to see if we reject again off this resistance, and we could still turn back down inside of this channel. So keep that in mind. The IWM is also on a downtrend. We have resistance to watch for at 237, support down here at 233. We're going to see if we reject or not. It looks like it might push for 237, but then also I just want to note that there is still a gap down here. There's still a gap to fill. All the way down here, it has not filled the gap yet. So even if we pushed closer to like 236 or so, there's still that risk of us getting a rejection. We need to reclaim 240 to be bullish. As long as we're below this, there's still a risk of us kind of like pushing and then rejecting. On ES, we pumped it, but then we could reject again. Could retest 6630 before it turns back down to the lower 6500s. NQ could retest 24,500 before it turns back down to 24,000 or below. On Bitcoin, we're on a downtrend, so we could be looking, for an attempt for 88,000 before we end up turning back down towards 85,000. And then for other tickers such as Tesla, we're technically on a downtrend. We're making lower highs all over again, and there is going to be a risk of us essentially dipping back down towards, I'd say the gap fill around 368. So we could be filling the gap down here. It's possible we try to bounce a bit on Tesla before it continues to fall, but I do see some downside risk. Same thing with Nvidia. We could pop a bit before we turn back down, so there's still some downside risk for the markets. Coinbase might try to bounce for 245. There could be a temporary bounce coming, but then watch and see if it rejects. Amazon could be retesting 225. We'll see if we turn back down. Meta may retest 607. We'll see if we turn down. And then Google could kind of pop here before it returns back down to 290. So give it some time. Also, the VIX kind of has like a double top here. So we're going to see if this dips a bit as the market tries to bounce. With that being said, guys, I want to thank you all so much for listening. So please enjoy the rest of your guys' weekends. NIO may bounce a little bit, but then we're going to see if we get a rejection. And then what happens right now doesn't really matter as much. What matters is going to be after earnings on Tuesday. So could we bounce a bit? Yes, I would not rule out 5.8 or even closer to $6, but then we could turn back down after we test this resistance becoming, or this support becoming resistance. I think we bounce another like 20 to 40 cents, and then we could be turning back down again. At least from a technical standpoint, we're on a downtrend, even if we bounce a bit. But then what's going to matter is going to be NIO's earnings on Tuesday. All right. So with that being said, I thank you all so much for listening. Have a good weekend and peace out.